All right, what's up, guys? VV back with another video, and in today's video, guys, we are going to be going over my predictions on who I think is going to win the U.S. Nationals this weekend. Um, let's go ahead and just start diving right into this, guys. I don't want this video to run too long. We're not going to be doing a tier list like it might seem here, guys. I'm only going to be going over specific leaders that I think have the highest chance to win and things like that. Because U.S. Nationals is a very serious event. I don't think many people are going to be bringing janky off-meta decks to this. It's probably going to be only what you see on the screen here, and maybe not even some of the decks you see on the screen here, guys. In the discussion category, in the white tab here, the discussion category. So that's what we're going to be doing today, guys. I want to know who you guys think are going to win as well. Please post down in the comment section below who you think is going to win U.S. Nationals this year. It's going to be this weekend, and yeah, I can't wait to see what happens there. So let me go ahead and break down today's video for you. First, we're going to be doing the tier list. It's like a pseudo tier list. It's not really that. It's really just me predicting who I think is going to win and going off some of the stuff that I've come across when, playing these decks and seeing the results and stuff like that and all that good stuff. So that's going to be first. Then we're going to head over to EB02 and check out some spoilers. A lot of people have been asking me about spoilers for EB02. I will have an entire video that comes out eventually, guys, once they have everything spoiled, so I can just do it all in one shot. But I will do that as soon as I can. But we have to wait for all the cards to be spoiled. But today we are going to go over some of the cards over on OnePieceTopDecks.com. They have like a spoiler section. We'll be checking out some of the EB02 spoilers. Okay, that'll be a lot of fun. There's some good cards coming out, guys. Okay, then after that, we will wrap everything up with a game on the sim, a game of Blue Doffy versus Red Purple Luffy. We got to have a little bit of gameplay in every video, right, guys? So that'll be a lot of fun, okay? I'll have everything time-stamped in the general description. I'll have all relevant deck lists and links in the comment section below. You guys know the drill. If you have any comments, questions, or suggestions, please do not hesitate to put those down in the comment section below. One more thing before we get started. I did put out a poll right before recording this video saying, who do you think is going to win U.S. Nationals this weekend? So please go over, hop over, and check that out when you can. Vote for who you want to. One thing I will say about that, unfortunately, they only give you 4 options. Okay, I only had 4 options I could put in for the poll. It wouldn't let me add any more. It's capped at 4. So I did Red Shanks, Blue Doffy, Purple Luffy, and then Other. So if you want to vote for someone else, just do Other, then say who you think down in the comment section below. I love seeing what people vote for, guys. I love seeing seeing what people think is going to win and all that good stuff. So I'll try to link that in the comment section below if I don't forget, so you guys can check that out as well. If not, just head over to the community tab under my YouTube. There's a community tab, and it'll have the poll in there. I haven't done a poll on this site on YouTube for a while now, so that'll be cool to see what people say. Okay, that's it, guys. Let's do this. Let's get into the predictions here. I'm gonna try not to spend too much time on this, guys, because I can rant forever about this stuff. I can just keep on yapping. Let me adjust my camera real quick to make sure everything looks good. There we go. So, spoiler warning, giving everybody a heads up, we're not going over all these leaders. I'm sorry, guys, this is not that video. I'm going over the leaders that I think have the highest likelihood of winning winning U.S. Nationals, and that's it. We're not really going over any of the other stuff on here. There's some cool stuff on here. Obviously, you guys know I love playing every leader, but we're going to go over the leaders that I think have the highest likelihood of winning Nationals, and then I'm going to tell you guys my final prediction at the end of that. So first things first, guys, let me kind of put things where I think they're going to go. So I think right away it's going to be Shanks, Blue Doffy, and Purple Luffy as like the most likely. And then some people might be surprised at this, but I think Lucci still has a chance to win it all, guys. Lucci is just that deck, guys. It is what it is. The deck is extremely solid. It's very strong. It's still very good, and I think he can compete against any of these other 3 in the likely category. And by the way, let me say that as well. Notice how I have this set, guys. Like I was saying in the intro, it's not really meant to be a tier list. It's just meant to be who I think is most likely to win U.S. Nationals, and then I'm going to give you guys my vote at the end. Okay, so likely is these. This says possible. They're all possible. Anything on this list I have is possible, but it's just like whatever's in between likely and unlikely. So for there, I'm going to put. I'm actually going to put this here. Sorry, guys. We'll come back to that. I think Smoker's in the possible category, just under what's his name, Lucci. And then I think Bonnie, let me move that. There we go. Excuse me. And then Black Yellow Luffy. I'm gonna break this down more as we get into it, and once I have everything set, and then we'll talk about it a little more then. Now, from here, let me go ahead. I've got the unlikely stuff up. I'm gonna put Blackbeard here next to Enel and Katakuri. Let me put them right next to each other. They're kind of all in this unknown category, to be honest. And yeah, that's about it. Then also unlikely Zoro. There's always bound to be that one Zoro player who's a very talented, well-practiced Zoro, or in this case, Zoro player, right? And I guess it technically could have been Red, Green, Chopper, or Zoro for the Zoro package, but I think Zoro will probably be the way to go with that. I always have to put that in here somewhere because, you know, it's like they always find a way into the top 8, these aggro rush decks. And I think it's for a few reasons, right? Number one is because they're fast games. If you're about to go into a 9 or 10 round tournament with all the best players in the country, these games are going to be grueling slog fests. You know, like it's going to be absolute, how do I say this? It's going to be peak, you know, as far as competition goes. But you're going to be tired after all that, right? No matter how good a player is, you know, when you're going all in, you're trying to win every game so you can win nationals, you're going to start getting tired. I don't care who you are. So the faster your games are, the better. And that's one of the other reasons, by the way, all these cards up here in the likely section are where they are, other than Lucci's games can run pretty long. But these other three, they play very aggressively, right? They play very aggressively, and it is a, you know, it helps their tournament performance as well. So, and they're also very good decks, of course, too, guys. I'm not trying to sell that short. But Zoro, I don't think he's even in the same ballpark as any of these top 4. However, his games are probably going to be so quick, and if you just drop your guard for 1 second, all of a sudden Zoro can just run you over. And there are some diehard Zoro players out there, guys. You'd be surprised how good they are. So you never know, but I have it in the unlikely category. So it's possible, but not, not likely. Okay, so now I'm going to go into the legendary category real quick. If you win with any of these leaders, we're going to talk about them more as we get into them. It's just unbelievable, right? I'm even going to remove ST14 Luffy from the list, guys. I'm sorry, it just shouldn't be there. We're going to put Boa right here, and then Red, Purple Luffy. Okay, so here's everything, guys. This is, and let me go ahead and adjust it to put it exactly where I want it. Actually, we'll do that as we're talking through it. So the decks that I think are most likely to win, and this is just my opinion, guys. I don't know what other people think about this. This is just my opinion. I think these first 3 are the most likely to win because, first of all, we've already seen some tournament results, and I believe Shanks won the first major big OP09 tournament over here in the West, and I think they went 9-0 or 10-0 in like a 1,000-player tournament. And guess who got second place in that tournament? Right under him, Bonnie. Now, I'm sure the pilot was incredibly good, you know, and I'm sure they, excuse me, I'm sure they also got some really good matchups, and they kicked butt. They got second place in a huge tournament, basically a 1,000-player tournament. And the pilot was very good as well. I think it was Nicholas Powell who was piloting that deck. But long story short, I think Shanks, Blue Doffy, and Purple Luffy have the highest chance to win because of one major factor, other than the fact that they're very strong. Like, all the decks on here are very solid, very strong decks. So other than that factor, the main factor is I think they will be the most represented. Representation is everything, guys, because wait till we get down here to the legendary category. We're going to talk about this probably for quite a bit, especially when we get to Bella Betty and Red, Yellow, Sabo. We're going to talk about that. But, guys, these leaders, they have a great matchup against the field. They're very strong decks in general. They can just curve out and kind of just win by default sometimes. Not saying there's no skill required, but they can do things that are really outrageous, that are very, very strong. But they also, you know, how do I say this? They're going to be the most represented. So because of that, they have the highest likelihood to win. You know, and that it was the same thing in the last tournament, by the way. I think the top 4 the top 4 decks that were represented in the big tournament I was talking about, it was like a 1,000-player tournament. It was Red Shanks, Blue Doffy, in no particular order. It was Shanks, Blue Doffy, Purple Luffy, and then the 4th place one was I think it was Marshall D. Teach. That was the only one that I remember the order on. I don't remember which. It was probably Doffy first, then Shanks, then Purple Luffy. But then 4th place, I believe, was Blackbeard or Marshall D. Teach. So with that in mind, I don't even think there's much more to even talk about here, guys, other than Lucci, which we're about to get into. These 3 leaders are well represented for a reason. They can have pretty fast games. They're very consistent. They have a good matchup against the field. They're going to be the most played. They have a very, very high likelihood of winning. Then you have the Lucci players. Lucci players, I think, are going to be going into this tournament hoping to dodge any random Blackbeards that are going to be out there, because Blackbeard is still going to be a deck that can win, guys. I have it in unlikely, but it can definitely, anything on this list I think can win, guys, and we'll talk about that more as we get into it. Maybe Purple Yellow Pudding, stretching it a little bit. You guys tell me what y'all think in the comments section below. But maybe even Green Uda. But the rest of these guys I really think can win, especially if they get some good matchups along the way. But anyway, Lucci, guys, this leader's not bad. He just never was bad, and he's still not bad. So, like, the only thing that I think could really hold him back is if he ran into a lot of black yellow Luffys and a lot of Blackbeards on his way up the ladder. Then I think it would be very, very tough for him. It's already going to be, I think it's going to be hard enough. You do have to be a pretty good player to play these decks, obviously, at the highest level like this. But I think it has a lot of potential. Now, let's go down to the possible category. Jory Bonnie getting second place in the very first major OP09 tournament in the West was a big, big eye-opener for me. I did not know this deck could do that. I did not think Bonnie could do what it did. And again, a lot of that comes down to pilot skill and practice and practice and practice. But guys, the deck is very strong. I mean, let's talk about it into Shanks. You're going to be resting one of their attacks every turn with the leader effect. You have 5 life, and your top end is insanely powerful. You know, you've got your Doflamingos, you have your game closers and Hody Jones, you have the 9-cost Shanks now, which is insane. There are so many, and then of course 8-cost Kid. I'm not trying to forget any guys, I'm just trying to sum it up. Like, you have so many good cards in Jory Bonnie, and the leader effect is so powerful. It's one of the strongest leader effects, if not the strongest leader effect ever printed, like next to like maybe a Nell or something, I don't know. The leader effect is just so strong. So like into Doffy, you're resting a character, into Purple Luffy, you're resting a character. You're starting to lock things down. People are starting to figure out that the 5-cost carrot locking down to 7 or less is just massive, right? People are starting to figure that out, and the deck is actually very strong and has a real chance of winning U.S. Nationals, in my opinion. Now, let's keep going right down this list here. Smoker. Guys, let's talk about Smoker for a minute. Smoker has one of the strongest 5-cost cards in the entire game right now. In fact, I would say Carrot might be the strongest 5-cost card in the game right now. That might sound crazy to some people. Maybe not. Maybe Cavendish is. You guys tell me what y'all think about that in the comment section below if you want to as well. Not just who you think is going to win Nats, but maybe if you think, you know, who do you guys think? We'll have to do that. That'll have to be its own video. Who do you guys think is the best in each cost category? That'll have to be an entire series of like topic of the day videos. But guys, legitimately, 5-cost Tashigi is insane. So, okay, do you have a 5-cost Sabo on the field that's really annoying you against like Lucci? Okay, 5-cost Tashigi just deals with it. It trashes the card. It does not KO. It trashes cards. It hits a 4, but it also hits 1 more with your leader effect if you need for it to, right? I think so. I actually have it up over here on the right because I was going to talk about this card. Yeah. Comes into play if your leader Smoker -4 of the cost, and then trash up to one of your opponent's characters with the cost of 0. So you just have to put 1 Dawn on your leader, and then just -1 to the cost of something, and then the -4 with the Tashigi that hits a 5 or less, and it trashes it. And I believe, and the card has a 1K counter. It's a 5-cost 6K 1K counter with a trash effect, absolutely incredible. And it makes your leader stronger, right? Because if you get him down to 0, you know, use your leader effect last to actually get the +1000 buff for the turn. Insane, so strong. And think about the cards it can take out against all of these leaders here. Against Lucci, it's taking out cards like 4-cost Rob Lucci. It could get, you know, the Rebecca. It could get Brooke, but it could also get 5-cost Sabo, 4-cost Borsellino. It doesn't matter because it trashes the cards, right? Purple Luffy, it's going to be hitting the 5-cost Sanji with the leader effect. It's going to be hitting the 4-cost Zoro Juro. And, of course, with it being primarily Navy, because I think, so the Smoker lists that I've seen are more Navy than Lucci is, obviously, because Lucci has access to CP cards as well. Because remember, guys, for those who don't know, Spandam, the Searcher, the 1-cost Searcher, is locked to a CP leader. So random, so strange, but whatever. But because of that, Smoker is, like, very, very... like hyper-focused on Navy, and then it has a few cards that are just really good in it, like Brooke, Rebecca, and Gecko Moria, right? I think everything else is probably Navy with a few exceptions. But against Purple Luffy, you're going to be able to hit all those 5-cost and lower targets with the Tashigi. Against Blue Doffy, the entire deck is 4-cost for the most part. And then Red Shanks, you're going to be able to hit Lucky Roo and not have to worry about the KO effect. Though I will say this, guys, I don't think Lucky Roo is going to be in many decks this weekend. It could be. It might just be in there just because it's a good blocker. But remember, guys, Blue Doffy just says, okay, 4-cost law, bounce that thing back to your hand. Thanks for wasting your last turn. So we'll have to watch out for that. But yeah, really good stuff. So again, back to Smoker. I think this deck has a very high chance, not a high chance. I think it's going to be very possible for this deck to be able to win Nationals. I don't think it's the most likely option, but it's very, very possible. And then Black Yellow Luffy. I think Black Yellow Luffy and even Lucci, like these two on the end of each category, I think it will largely depend on how many people choose to bring Blackbeard. A lot of people might choose to bring Blackbeard, guys, because people are starting to figure it out better and all that good stuff. You know how it is. And sometimes people just want to play a list that they think they can outplay their opponent with. And Blackbeard is the kind of list where it's like, okay, if you see a decent enough roll, like a decent enough hand, you can actually just outplay people sometimes. It is what it is. And think about what Blackbeard can do. Later in the game against Bonnie, you can start locking down her leader effect, right? If you play down the 10 cost Blackbeard first and then use it to shut down the leader effect for the turn and stop an attack for next turn, well, that's massive. And then you trash card in a turn, you're turning off the on plays, they can't even lock down your board. Very, very strong. Into Red Shanks, of course, I think this is pretty close to a 50-50 matchup, right? I think that will largely come down to pilot skill. Someone correct me in the comment section down below if I'm wrong. Against Blue Doffy, it is very hard. Blue Doffy can flood the board so consistently and so quickly that it's very hard for Blackbeard to deal with Blue Doffy, but it was kind of built to deal with Blue Doffy. At the same time, it was built to deal with it. So I do think it has enough answers to deal with Blue Doffy, at least at a decent rate. Purple Luffy, I don't know. I think Purple Luffy probably just... Purple Luffy might struggle against Blackbeard a little bit because it can you just never get an on-play effect. Right? You just don't get any on-play effects at all over the course of the game after a while. And as you're attacking it with Purple Luffy trying to stay aggressive, you're replenishing their hand. So maybe good Purple Luffy players will be able to beat Blackbeard pretty consistently just by going wide. And if the Blackbeards don't see enough removal, maybe. I don't know. We'll have to see. But I think, with all that in mind, Blackbeard is very, very strong. I just don't know if there's going to be enough people playing it. And of those people who are playing it, do they have enough experience with the leader already in OP09 in the West? That would be my primary concern. But if there are not enough Blackbeards, back to my original thing we were about to talk about, if there's not enough Blackbeards, Black Yellow Luffy and Lucci, those are very interesting picks, guys. Those are very interesting picks. I've seen people do very well with Black Yellow Luffy into Blue Doffy. I've seen Black Yellow. Actually, hang on. I think Purple Luffy might just be a pretty strong counter to it because it just goes so wide so quickly. The pressure's insane. I don't know if it can keep up, but at the same time, you never know. And then with Red Shanks, it'll probably come down a lot to it'll come down to pilot skill quite a bit. But yeah, I think Lucci and Black Yellow Luffy are very interesting picks in this area. Okay, next up under the unlikely category, I've already covered Blackbeard, so I'll kind of skip over that. Boa, it's basically one of those situations where it's like, why not just play Blue Doffy? There will be the diehard Boa fans. So, and most of the package they're running is basically what Blue Doffy is running anyway. It's just a slightly different twist on it, because they're more focused on removal to draw cards. But they have full access to the 7 Warlords package, and they're a 5-life blue leader. So, yeah, they're going to have potential. But I think it's unlikely. I think most people who are going to be going to this tournament are going to be very, very serious. And they're going to be more focused on, like, okay, well, what is the best blue leader if I'm trying to run blue? And I think that's Doflamingo right now. NL, I think this leader is actually still just very, very strong. And I think the good players who know how to play this leader can just draw the game out to an absolute crawl. And then it can kind of win against most decks, especially, again, this will always come down to a good pilot, and this is U.S. Nationals, guys. If I'm not mistaken, someone help me in the comment section. Someone help me out in the comment section below if I'm off on this. U.S. Nationals this year was invite only. So you're not even getting to Nationals unless you've done very well in a previous tournament this season, right, or this year. Or, well, I guess last year. Y'all know what I mean. It's 2025 now. But yeah, so you're going to have nothing but extremely competent pilots. The one big thing about NL is the games tend to run pretty long, right? The NL games tend to run pretty long because you're surviving and so on and so forth. You're not attacking until the right opportunity. So that could play a factor in long-term, fatigue. Katakuri is like a more aggressive version of Enel, but here's the thing. Notice the card right next to them that we already talked about with Blackbeard. I think the success of Enel and Katakuri will largely depend on how many Blackbeards are at the tournament and how good they are with the leader already. We'll have to see what happens, because generally speaking, Blackbeard does kind of shut down Yellow a little bit with the on-play effects. However, I don't know how else to say it. Any of these leaders can still win, right? Guys, I know sometimes a matchup might seem like it's unwinnable, but you would be surprised. Every now and then, a leader can just win who you did not think was going to win. That was the thing back when Red Purple Law was still in the format, and it had a pretty, Reiju had a pretty terrible matchup into Red Purple Law, guys. I don't know if y'all remember that. We're going a little ways back now, a few months back, or probably like half a year back. Maybe more than that, guys. It has time's moving so quickly. Anyway, with Red Purple Law, they had a massive advantage against Reiju. But every now and then, Reiju would just get that pull where they just win. It was just that simple. And it wasn't even so much a matter of like a mistake. It was a matter of like the other player might have got bricked up, or the other player might have saw the best hand ever. There's so many different factors. Okay, now moving on to Nami. I don't think this is the time for Nami, guys. I'm just going to be honest. I think Blue Doffy's just a little too quick right now. Purple Luffy's also very quick. They spread the board so wide, so aggressively, so consistently, so quickly that it's just very, very hard to deal with. I don't think this is the time for Nami. We'll see what happens. Anything's possible. Maybe they'll get good matchups. Because I'll tell you what, man, if Nami can go against a bunch of the slower decks like Lucci, like probably like Black Yellow Luffy, I think, you know, Blackbeard's interesting. I've seen Blackbeard beat Nami's, but I think, you know, long story short, if Nami can see enough good matchups and see a decent pool every time where they get a lot of the draw cards from characters early on, Nami can always just pull a win off, guys. It can always happen. Zoro, there's always bound to be like, you know, a few random diehard Zoro players. It is a great tournament deck, guys, because you just go wide, you go fast, and okay, the game's over fast, or you know, you either win fast or you lose fast. That's it. And in a tournament, that really matters. So I would not be surprised if a Zoro pops up in the top 64, top 18 spot, or top 30, or excuse me, top 18. What is that? Top 64, top 32, or top 16. I wouldn't be surprised to see a random Zoro in there. Winning the whole thing, very unlikely though. Okay, Boa, I think we already talked about this, and now okay, that's all good. All right, now down here at the bottom for the legendary category, these are the last decks in the format that I think actually have a chance, but they're not going to see representation. And that is why I have them under legendary. Guys, Bello Betty can just run most decks over. It does struggle against Blue Doffy, which is a majority of the format. However, it still can beat Blue Doffy if you're teching in the right cards. And I've said this before, guys. People are getting too like selfish or greedy. Not in a mean way. I don't mean like that in a mean way. But they're getting a little too greedy with the way they're building Red Yellow Bello Betty. I think you have to branch out a Revo army. Actually, so maybe I'm the greedy one. I'm saying that, like, okay, don't be so modest and just build Red Yellow Bello Betty strictly Revo army. No. We have to build outside of it. We have to put the 5-cost Nami in there if you want to have a decent matchup into Blue Doffy. That's just my opinion. If you guys have other ideas on it, by all means, share it. Now, let's go over to Red Yellow Sabo. Guys, this could easily be the sleeper of the format. This is not me just saying... I'm not just saying this because Red Yellow Sabo is my main. You can hop on the VV Theory Discord right now if you want to. The link's in the channel description. And I have results on results on results. Not from major tournaments, but from just randoms playing against randoms on the sim. Okay, guys, Red Yellow Sabo... there's two different versions right now that are really popping off. There's the Trigger Aggro version, and then there's the Hybrid Revo version with control elements. And guys, let me tell you right now, the Trigger Aggro version is running Shanks over. It is struggling. It's like 50-50 into Blue Doffy. It's running Purple Luffy over, and it's doing 50-50 against Lucci. The more hybrid control version, the hybrid version with Revo and then a little bit of control elements, it's at least breaking even against Shanks. It is very favored into Blue Doffy going first. Purple Luffy, it's just beating. And then Black Lucci, it's also doing like, it's about 50-50 against Black Lucci, maybe 40-60. So it's like, honestly, guys, I could, and by the way, against Bonnie, it's also doing incredibly well. So it's like, okay, in these top 5 decks that we're talking about, if you just run into those in the tournament, I think a Red Yellow Sabo list literally has a chance of winning it all. Not saying it they will, because guess what? I bet no one even goes with Red Yellow Sabo. That's the biggest problem with some of these decks, guys. It's like, well, people are going to play what they know wins, and that is these top 3 rows, guys. These top 3 rows are the only leaders I expect to even see at the tournament, with a few exceptions of like Bello Betty and Red Purple, what's his name? Red Purple Luffy. Moving on to Green Uda here. This is one where it's like, this one probably does... I should probably move Uda down and Purple Yellow Pudding down, because yes, representation's not going to be there for the most part, but it does have some pretty rough matchups, I think, into some of the decks on the field above it. Like some of these leaders above it, it's pretty rough. It's pretty rough. Purple Yellow Pudding, same idea, where it's like, okay, this leader can kind of just demolish certain decks, but can it demolish all the decks in the top 4 consistently? And how many people are going to represent the leader? It's going to come down to representation. We'll have to see what happens, but I don't think it's quite there yet. And then last but not least, Red Purple Luffy. I almost had this under unlikely because I think Red Purple Luffy will probably have some decent representation, because a lot of people don't want to just go into mirror matches. So players that would normally run Shanks might be running Red Purple Luffy just to get out of the, you know, the potential multiple mirror matches. And then I think it has a pretty decent matchup into Shanks. So we'll have to see what happens there. All right, guys, that's enough. That's my tier list. So now to kind of, or not, again, I don't like to call it a tier list, but it is kind of, that is kind of what it is. Now to tell you guys my prediction on who I think is going to win the 24 to 25 U.S. Nationals. I honestly, guys, I'm the kind of person that thinks outside the box. Don't worry, I'm not going to say red, yellow, sabo. Don't worry. I have this weird feeling that black, yellow Luffy is going to win U.S. Nationals. This guy right here. I might be wrong, and that's fine, by the way. In fact, like I said, the most likely decks to win are the green ones. But I'm going with my heart on this one. You know, it's like, do you want to go with the numbers or do you want to go with your heart? On this one, I'm going with my heart. I think Black Yellow Luffy's going to win. I just have this weird feeling that I think Black Yellow Luffy's going to pull it off because I don't think there's going to be enough, what's his name? Blackbeards in the format to run into. But who knows? Maybe they could still get wins against Blackbeard, but I think it's very, very difficult. And if they don't run into enough Blackbeards, I really just think Black Yellow Luffy can pull it off. So guys, that's gonna be my vote. That's gonna be what I'm thinking. Now again, the decks that I think are most likely to win are all up here in top in green. But the deck that I'm going for, I'm gonna go with a surprise rogue pick. I'm going Black Yellow Luffy to win Nationals. Excuse me, to win Nationals this year. And my second pick, guys, it would still be in the possible category. It would be Green Jory Bonnie. I don't know why. I just have a feeling, you know, and maybe even Lucci if I had to go to a third, Lucci or Smoker or something. But yeah, I'm going with something off the, something not as that's going to be, represented as much. All right, I don't think it will be, but I think Black Yellow Luffy might be able to sneak Nationals this year. We'll see what happens. All right, that's it, guys. That's it for the tier list. Let's go ahead and head over to EB02. Spoiler warning, guys. Back away now. Back out. You've been warned. If you don't like spoilers, here we go. We're going to get into some of these EB02 spoilers. We're not going over all of them. We're going to be going over some of them. I will have an entire video dedicated to this in its entirety where, once all the cards have been released. Okay, so first up here, guys, we do have a Port Goss D Ace. It's a 5-cost, 5,000 power, 1K counter. So this effect better be strong, right? It's a 5-cost 5K with a 1K counter, not a 2K counter. So on play, Whitebeard Pirates, Alabasta type. Very interesting, it's Alabasta type. Okay, counter is 1,000. On play, if your leader's type includes Whitebeard Pirates, okay, never mind, the Alabasta part's no longer interesting unless a new leader comes out. But no, if your leader's type includes Whitebeard Pirates, look at the top 5 cards of your deck, reveal up to 1 cost 2 character, and put it into your hand. What? Guys, then place the rest on the bottom of your deck in any order and play up to 1 cost 2 character from your hand as rested. This must be, hang on, if your leader type includes Whitebeard Pirates, look at the top 5 cards of your deck, reveal up to 1 cost 2 character and put it into your hand, then place the rest of the bottom of your deck in any order and play up to 1 cost 2 character from your hand as rested. This has to be Goa Kingdom support, right? For the 2-cost yellow Ace or whoever else, all the Goa Kingdom ST13 Three Brothers Bond deck. Very good card. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this. I do think this was needed. I'll be honest. But locking it to a Whitebeard Pirates card, I understand it. It's meant for balance reasons. But it's like there was a tease there by making it Whitebeard Pirates and Alabasta. Like, oh, maybe we can run this in red blue Nefeltari Vivi. No, just kidding. Tricked you. I mean, you can still run it in there, but I mean, you can't even use the effect because your leader's Whitebeard Pirates. Cool effect. I do love the ST13 theme, the mechanics going on there. I think it's so much fun, and I can't wait to try this in Blue Yellow Ace. But at the same time, I'm not head over heels about this card. They could make it a little bit stronger than a 5-cost 5K because it's a 5-cost 5K that does a top 5 search that could whiff. You might whiff the search, right? And if you do whiff the search, then it's just a 5-cost 5K, which feels horrible. Otherwise, you could get a 2-cost card out of there and cheat out a 2-cost. I just don't know if that was that crazy. In fact, I would have rather than made this like a 5-cost 6K. 5-cost is very important for the theme of the deck. It has to be 5-cost, right? But I would even rather than make this a 5-cost 6K 1K counter, just give it a slight power boost, and then I think it would have still been very balanced. But who knows? Tell me what you guys think about in the comment section below. All right, next up we got Bluno. Bluno is a 5-cost 6,000 power. Excuse me, guys, my throat. Bluno is a 5-cost 6,000 power 1K counter. Activate main. You may discard 1 card from your hand and place this character in your trash. Okay, kind of like the 5-cost 6K 1K counter blocker from CP way back. Remember that, guys? You had to attach a Dawn to it, and if it got KO'd, you could bring a card back from the trash. This one says you may discard, activate main, you may discard 1 card from your hand and place this character into your trash. and play up to one cost 5 or lower character with CP included in its types from your trash. What's the idea here, guys? I think I'm missing something. I might be. I don't play a lot of black anymore or CP. Are you just trying to bring the card? Are you trying to? Are you basically paying 1 to stand this card up and he can't attack for the rest of the turn? Because you have to discard a card from your hand and place this character in the trash. Then you can play up to 1 cost 5 or lower character with CP included in its types from your trash. Very odd. Tell me what you guys think about this in the comment section below. I'm not going to judge this one yet because I don't actually know what they're trying to pull back. Is there like a specific card that I'm not thinking of? Maybe Kaku? Maybe they can bring back a 5 cost 6k Kaku to pop something. You know, they can swing with this first for the turn, like swing for 6, trash a card from hand, play out Kaku, pop something. Maybe that's the idea. Maybe that's what it is. Other than that, guys, I have no idea. This is a very odd, peculiar effect, but I'm sure it has a place somewhere. Okay, next up we got Frankie, guys. This is a purple character. It looks red in the image there, guys, but it's not like the perfect picture. It says that this is a 3-cost purple character with 4,000 power, 1k counter, Straw Hat Crew, Water 7. It has an on play and when attacking. If your leader has the Straw Hat Crew type, and the number of your Dawn cards on board are equal to or less than your opponent's, set up to 1 Dawn card from your Dawn deck as rested. Okay, I have to reread that because I was getting so distracted. On play, when attacking, if your leader has the Straw Hat Crew type. I can't stand when they do this, guys. I'm sorry. I literally can't stand when they make a Straw Hat Crew Water 7 type card, just like what we just saw with Ace. They made a Whitebeard Pirates Alabasta type card, and they lock it to only one of those types for the leader effect. What? I don't understand that from a design principle. I mean, I guess it is based on balance in the end, but I'm not a huge fan of it. But anyway, so this card is a, excuse me, it's a 3-cost 4k, 1k counter, on play when attacking. So it's just like Brook in that regard, where it's a 3-cost 4k with a 1k counter with an on play and when attacking. But this one says if your leader has the Straw Hat Crew type and the number of your Dawn cards on board are equal to or less than your opponent's, set up to 1 Dawn card from your Dawn deck as rested. It's funny how much they learned from a card like Brook. Because imagine if Brook was locked to a leader, to a Straw Hat Crew leader card only. Then that card would all of a sudden be very, very balanced, and you'd only be able to use it in certain decks, like, you know, ST14 Luffy or something, and that would have just made more sense in my opinion. But, you know, I guess they learned it too late, and this card's effect I feel like is way worse. I mean, it can catch you up in Dawn, especially in, like, well, I was going to say use it in Iceberg to catch up Dawn, but you can't, because your leader has to be Straw Hat Crew type. So odd. I still think the card's pretty good, though, you know, at least in a purple Straw Hat Crew deck. This will allow you to go backwards in Dawn for the turn, and then, excuse me, and then get the Dawn right back rested, so you won't fall too far behind. Pretty solid. It's kind of like their version of Pudding. It's not the same because that's like a, you know, that's like a once per turn effect that happens when it's triggered, but this is still very solid. Okay, Vista, 4-cost, 5,000 power, 1k counter, on play, place up to one of your opponent's characters of 1,000 power or less at the bottom of the owner's deck. Okay, that makes me want to build like a red-blue style deck that gets like some value from this. This is probably made for red-blue Marco, because this will allow you to put a 3,000 power character on the bottom of the owner's deck with a leader's effect. And it's a 4-cost 5k. Really cool looking Vista, by the way. Look at that mustache, man. That thing's awesome. He's got the, you know, I think in most of his pictures he's got those dual wield sabers. Looks really cool. I'm a big fan of this one, actually. Like so far out of all the ones we've seen, the one I like the best is actually this Vista. I'm not saying it's the best one. It's just the one that I like the most, and that's probably because it's removal. I do like removal. I'm not going to spend too much time on that, but I do think this is going to be pretty solid in something like red-blue Marco. Okay, here's some cards I've been really wanting to talk about, guys. All these cards coming up. We're going to be looking at all these. So first up, let's go over Buggy. Buggy is a 4-cost, 6,000 power, no counter, and it has on play, if you do not have another Buggy character in play, up to one of your leaders gains double attack until the end of turn. Trigger, rest up to one of your opponent's characters with a cost of 4 or less. This card in Arlong is going to pump, guys. This card in Arlong is going to be so good. It doesn't have a counter, but this is kind of like the you know, the green Arlong in that deck. It's a 4-cost card. The trigger can rest to 4 or less as well, I believe. but it has an on-play effect of, you know, trashing a card from your hand and locking down a leader attack. It's like another version of that card for us in a more aggressive way. It's like neither of them have counters. They're both 4-cost 6Ks. They both have triggers to bounce to rest a 4 or less. But this one allows you to swing for a double attack. Whew, man, guys, that is brutal. That's going to be absolutely brutal. Cannot wait to add this to my R-Long list. big fan of this card. Big fan. Excuse me, guys. Next up is Sabo. Sabo is an EB0... or why am I reading that? He's a 4-cost, 5,000 power card. Dressrosa, Revo Army. 2,000 counter. Let's go. A 2K counter for Dressrosa. Or for... no, not for Dressrosa, but... I mean, for that too. But for Revo Army. Another 2K counter for Revo Army. We'll take them every single time, guys. We love to see those. Especially red ones. So that way, if you're running Dragon, you might actually be able to search up all your 2K counters. You know, how crazy is that idea? A monocolor deck that doesn't have enough 2K counters printed in its type. Huge fan of this. Now, let's see what the Activate main is. Activate main, you may rest this character. Okay, that's different. Activate main, you may rest this character up to one of your Revo Army characters other than Sabo. Gains plus 2,000 power during this turn. I don't like that, guys. Why is it other than Sabo? Let me put the 2,000 on him and then push him to life with red yellow Sabo. Obviously, they had that in mind, but come on, guys. You could have made this into a 5-cost 5K 2K counter like it should be. Okay, because that. For those who've been following the channel long enough, that's one of my absolute favorite stat lines in the game. I think there's like a lot of power to a 5-cost 5K with a 2K counter and then a very relevant effect, a very strong utility effect. But yeah, I wish they had done that, guys. Here's what I wish they had made the card. I wish they had made it into a 5-cost 5K because then it's a 5-cost Sabo for the red-yellow Sabo deck, okay? 5-cost, 5,000 power, 2K counter. And, by the way, with it being 5,000 power, you'd be able to cheat it out with the Ivankov as well, which is just absolute money, right? It's just absolutely peak. But you'd be able to go 5-cost 5K, 2K counter, and then have it say this. Activate main, no resting this character up to one of your Revo Army cards gets plus 2,000 power for the turn. Yep, something that strong. Because, guys, guess what? Most decks can just remove this anyway. So it's like, yeah, give them a powerful effect. And why was this not a 5-cost Sabo? Man, so frustrating, so annoying. But still, very strong card. I do really like this card. It's just a little bit weaker than I wished it was. I cannot wait to mess with this card, though. I will be playing this in the future. Vegapunk. Okay, we got a 5-cost, 0-power card. Okay, very strong, very strong. 1K counter, but he does have blocker, so he's not totally worthless. On play, let's see this on play effect. I've not read this card, by the way, guys. Trigger, draw 1 card. I'm just going to read that first, guys, because I saw a trigger. I immediately look for the triggers for Vegapunk cards to see if they're locked or not. This one's not locked, guys. It's trigger, draw a card. On play, look at the top 5 cards of your deck and play up to 1 5-cost or lower scientist-type card. Wait. Look at the top 5 cards of your deck and then play up to 1 5-cost or lower scientist-type character card. Then place the rest at the bottom of your deck in any order, and if your opponent has 2 characters or less, discard 1 card. Man, that's odd. Okay, but you're going to be able to do a top 5 search and then cheat a character into play, and then if your opponent has 2 or less characters, you have to discard a card. I don't think that's that bad, though. That is a very peculiar, weird effect, but it does let you fill out the board very effectively with blockers, 5-cost characters. It has a trigger. You know, it's just a very solid utility card. The type locking of Scientist is very, very limiting currently in the game. So, unfortunately, I can't abuse this in my red-yellow Sabo decks. But either way, I do think the card is very good. I'm very curious to see how this will play out. I want to see it in action. It'll make more sense to me. But I can imagine a turn where it's like, okay, do a top 5 search. Let's say you see the 5-cost Nami. Well, actually, hang on. I don't think Nami's a Scientist card. See, so that's where it gets confusing. I'll have to see all the options. I think the card has potential, but I'm not a huge fan of it. But technically speaking, hang on one second. This is a Scientist card, and it does not count itself. So I can look at the top 5 cards in my deck, play up to 1 5-cost or lower Scientist-type character card, then place the rest of the bottom of the deck in any order, and if your opponent has 2 characters or less, discard 1 card. So theoretically, no, but seriously, guys, you know, according to my calculations here, this card, can it just flood the board with this? If you play this card out and then you reveal the top, and you look at your top 5 and reveal another Vegapunk, you can just play that out and then do another one and play that out and do another one. You might be able to potentially put 4 characters on the board at one time if that interaction is correct. So you guys tell me if the translation is correct or not. It might say other than Vegapunk, but if the translation is correct, I think I'm reading this correctly, right? Because it looks for a cost a 5 cost or lower scientist type character, and he's a 5 cost character, so we'll have to see. Pretty powerful. Okay, next up is Sengoku, guys. We're going to go all the way down to the 10 cost NL. That's where we're going to end it, guys, and we'll be done. So we got about 5 or 6 left. So Sengoku here is a 7 cost, 7,000 power, 1k counter blocker. Navy, of course. What an absolute beast stat line that is, guys. I love that. That's like the Purple Sanji, right? Purple Sanji is a 7 cost 7k with a 1k counter and rush, pretty much. And then you also have the 7 cost 7k Ben Beckman with a 1k counter. I love that stat line. That might be my second favorite stat line in the game, guys. The 7 cost 7k with 1k counter. And then my third, it's just right in line, I guess, right? Is a 9 cost 9k with a very relevant effect. So it's like 5 cost 5k, 2k counter, 7 cost 7k, 1k counter, 9 cost 9k, 0 counter. Perfect, man. I absolutely love it. I just think those stat lines are so clean and so strong. So, all right, anyway, so he's a blocker. He has on play up to 1 black Navy type character card with the cost of 4 or less from your trash. Rested. Whoa, man, that is nice. But they really messed up with this card, didn't they? Why does it have to be a black Navy type character card? What a total failure on Bandai's part. I'm just kidding. No, but seriously, that annoys me to no end. Because, of course, I'm thinking about this in black, yellow, Lin. Like, okay, I might be able to put together a black, yellow, Navy deck with Lin because the 4 cost Kuzan. Oh, man, that'd be perfect. Oh, wait. It's locked. It's locked to black, Navy type character cards. I'm so confused. You have this card doing what it does, but then you have the 8 cost Gecko Moria that can pull back 4 cost any color and a 2 cost any color. One's active, one's rested, and he's an 8 cost 9k, but he just doesn't have a counter. I'm so confused. Whatever, guys. And it's not even type locked with him, right? It's outrageous. Anyway, the card is still incredible. I cannot wait to get my hands on this card and mess around with it. Look at Sengoku looking like an absolute beast in this picture too, man. So cool looking. Next up, we have Nefeltari Vivi. This is a 3 cost, 2,000 power, 1k counter, Alabasta card. But check out this on play, guys. My buddy Mike I'm pretty sure it was Mike who was telling me about this. My buddy Mike was telling me about this. He goes, check this out, bro, and then tell me what you think about this in Green Blue Zanji. So on play, if your leader is multicolored, Green Blue Zanji, and you have 5 or less cards in hand, draw 2 cards. So I'm sure this was meant for Nefeltari Vivi, but you guys better believe I'm going to be messing around with this card in Green Blue Zanji. Yeah, I guess I'll just play out a 3 cost and draw 2 real quick, and then I'll just counter out aggressively every single attack I can so I can keep drawing 2, playing this out with it, and then bouncing it back to hand with the leader's effect. Huge fan of this card. I think this one's going to be a lot of fun. Okay, let's keep going, guys. We're almost done. We got about 4 more. Let me see. Yeah, 4 more. Trafalgar Law. This is a 5 cost 6k. Dressrosa, Supernova, Heart Pirates, 1k counter. 5 cost, by the way, which is relevant if you're trying to play like black, yellow, Luffy. Blocker. He has on play, you may return 2 cards from your trash to the bottom of your deck in any order, and then choose one of the following. To either draw a card, or if your opponent has 5 or more cards in their hand, they discard a card from their hand. Oh, man, I love this. I'm a huge fan of hand destruction, guys. It's one of my absolute favorite, dynamics in a game. It's one of my favorite effects within a card game. Absolutely love being able to attack the hand. Big fan of this card. It is like limited to 5 like they do. They like to keep the balance there. Very, very annoying. But hey, draw a card at the least. It's a 5 cost 6k blocker with a 1k counter. It'll be Supernova searchable. Dressrosa and Heart Pirate searchable. Who knows? That might come in handy as well. But I'm actually thinking of this in a black-yellow Luffy deck for some reason with the new OP10 Supernova Searcher. I think that could be really cool. But we'll see. Really big fan of this card, and the art looks awesome. Check them out with the glasses on. Those must be my glasses. Look, guys, we have the same glasses on. They look the same. We're going with that. But no, he's got the shades on. They look way cooler. Okay, Arlong, we got a 3 cost 4k, 1k counter. Fishman, East Blue, Arlong Pirates type, of course. And the on play is if your leader has the Fishman or East Blue type, give up to 1 rested Dawn to your leader, then up to 1 of your opponent's characters with a cost of 5 or less cannot be rested until the end of your opponent's next turn. Cannot be rested. So would that mean they can't attack either? Because whenever you go to attack, you have to rest the character, I believe. If that's how it works, then this card's pretty good. Because it's going to shut down one of your opponent's character's attacks for next turn. And then you have a 3 cost 4k on the board. And it's a nice cheap card, actually. So think about it like this. If you're on your 6 Dawn turn as Arlong, like say you had to go second as Arlong, which is never ideal. But say you had to go second. Okay, well, turn 2, you have to attack. Right, turn 2, you have to attack in for like 8. And then play out a character from your hand. But then on the next turn, when you have a 6 Dawn turn, it's going to be swing for 7, leader effect, and then play out Arlong, the 3 cost 4k here, to lock down one of their attacks. right? Give up to 1 rested Dawn card to your leader. Then up to 1 of your opponent's characters with a cost of 5 or less cannot be rested until the end of your opponent's next turn. Up to 1 of... Wait. Okay, no, I had that backwards. 1 of your... wait, no. Then up to 1 of your opponent's characters with a cost of 5 or less... No, that's right. 1 of your opponent's characters with a cost of 5 or less cannot be rested. But you do attach a Dawn. So, guys, let me go back to the ideal play. So now even going first... Okay, I forgot about the Dawn attachment. So going first is, turn 1, go. 1 Dawn, pass. Turn 2, attach 2 to your leader, swing for 7, cheat out a character with the Arlong's effect, your turn. Turn 3, on a 5 Dawn turn, it's going to be play this guy out for 3, attaching a Dawn to your leader, and then you can attach 1 more Dawn to your leader and swing for 7 and do the effect that way. Really nice card. This is a very nice card, guys. Really good stuff. Okay, we got Yamato here. This is a 6 cost, 7,000 power, Land of Wano type character, no counter. It has activate main once per turn if your leader has the Land of Wano type or is Port Ghasti Ace. Okay, very cool how they did that. Give up to 1 rested Dawn card to your leader. Then this character gains Rush during this turn. Okay, all right, very interesting. So let me read that one more time. So it's a 6 cost 7k Land of Wano card. Activate main once per turn if your leader has the Land of Wano type or is Ace. Give up to 1 rested Dawn card to your leader. Then this character gains Rush during this turn. So guys, I know it's probably going to be... it will probably be very cool in Ace, but I'm thinking Red-Green Odin right now. Slam this down, attach a Dawn to your leader, swing for 7 with leader, swing for 7 with... Actually, you could probably just swing for 7 with this first, then swing for 7 with your leader. Big fan of this card. This wants me to... this makes me want to revisit Red-Green Odin. Really good stuff here. Okay, next up we got Enel, guys, and we're going to finish off on this one. Like I said, I will be doing all of the cards when they're fully released and they're fully spoiled and they're on the official site. Okay, because I like to wait for the official translations, guys, just in case there's any kind of accidents or mishaps or things like that. I want to make sure it's on the official translation so everything's good. So here we go, guys, and also the quality, too, right? The quality of the cards looks better on there as well. So we got Enel. This is a card that a lot of people want to talk about right now. It's going to be a great card. I can tell you right now, I have read it. It's a 10 cost, 11k. Sky Island. If your leader has the Sky Island type, this character gains Rush. And when attacking, you may trash 1 card from your hand. And if your life has 1 or less cards, place up to 1 card from the top of your deck onto your life. Then give this character plus 1,000 power during this turn, or for this turn. Yeah, this is a 10 cost, 12k Rush card in Enel. It is absolutely, and it gains a life, obviously. This card is absolutely insane. I don't think it's really great outside of Enel because then it's just a 10 cost 11k, right? Because it doesn't have Rush if your leader's not Sky Island. So I guess Calgar as well, but you guys get what I'm saying. Other than Sky Island leaders, this is not just like a generically good 10 cost card, but in Enel, this card is absolutely cracked. Just straight up, this card is insanely good. It being a 10 cost 12k Rusher alone is good, even if well, I guess you do have to do the effect, the when attacking effect. Right? You may trash 1 card from your hand, and if your life has 1 or less cards, place up to 1 card from the top of your deck onto your life, then give this character plus 1,000 power for the turn. Incredible. Yeah, you do have to trash a card, so you're cycling a card from your hand to get an extra on your life, but that's worth it, like 9 times out of 10. But even if you're not doing the when attacking effect, if you have like more than 2, if you have 2 or more life, okay, no problem. I'm still swinging for 11, right? That's very, very strong, guys. Very, very strong. And I wonder, hang on. You may trash 1 card. You may trash 1 card from your hand. Okay, let's say I trash a card from my hand. I have 3 or more life, right? If my life has 1 or less cards, I can place up to 1 card from the top of my deck onto my life, and then give this character plus 1,000 power for the turn. I wonder if I can still get the plus 1,000 power if I just trash a card from my hand and my opponent has like more than 1 card, right? I don't know. You guys tell me in the comment section below. I'm not sure if the wording is correct. That's what makes it a little bit confusing. But hey, all right, that's it, guys, for that. Now we got one more thing to go over. We got 1 game on the sim to go over, a little bit of fun here. Whoops, didn't even have it full screen yet. We have a game of Blue Doflamingo versus Red Purple Luffy. Okay, there we go. And let's go volume off for this. We'll go speed 2x. And here we go, guys. Let's do this. All right, so this is just a fun game. This is an extra game I had. I always like to include at least 1 game on the sim for each video. But guys, Doflamingo is so fun to play. It's so strong right now. There's no wonder why it's being played as much as it is, and it's also very, very strong. Like it's just very strong in general. Okay, so going to play out the Jinbei and cheat out the Weevil, draw a card. I can't swing for 5 with my leader because their leader is 6,000 power. They're going to swing for 5. They've got a pretty good start here. They're ramping Dawn. This is a very good position for Red Purple Luffy to be in. This is ideal. And if they have a Bon Carré Bentham, I might cry, right? Well, okay, Gene Bart's not too bad. People ask me all the time, what's a good replacement for Mr. 2 Bon Carré Bentham? Gene Bart's not the worst. It's not too bad. But I always think Basil Hawkins is, because it's all about having that 4-cost body, and that one even has trigger on it, and has 1k counter, you know, all that good stuff. All right, 6 and a 4, he's not defending that. That would have been crazy. Now we'll go swing 6. We'll swing 6 more. We're going to eat up cards from his hand. He's giving me counters. We're going to play this, the Jinbei out to draw a card, to play out another Edward Weevil and draw a card. Whew, Jinbei, guys. Jinbei is a monster. So they're just going to try to swing above me. They're going to try to go above me in power. But guys, you know what we're going to do? We're just going to pop that card off the board and swing in for 8. We'll get 1 attack in. They give me a 1k counter. All right, there's a Shanks. Seems good. But we had to take out the cards. We have to take out the cards as they come in. But I really wish I had the card for Shanks now. Okay, but that's all right. What we can do is we can just keep aggressively attacking into them. They only have 4 cards left in hand. We're going to play out the Jinbei, which is going to let us play out the Boa for free. We're going to set our top cards. We're going to attach a Dawn to our leader. Whoops, there we go, if I remember. I was going to say, if I remember, we'll do that. And now we'll attach a Dawn to the leader, and we're probably going to just smash in here for... I want to swing in with my Jinbeis as well. Yeah, play out the Mihawk. So coming in for 7, he gives me a 2K. Seems good. All right, we'll swing in for 8 into 6. We need to get him down pretty low, so I do kind of like that attack there for 6. Or for 8 into 6. They're going to play out a Ben Beckman and pop my blocker. Seems good. That was also my only 6,000 power character, which hurts. Okay, 4 into 4. I'm going to 1k counter out of this. I'm going to make him invest an attack into that, so it works like a 2k counter anyway. Okay, so right here I'm like, I'm going to fully counter out, so that way I get to keep my Jinbei on the board. That was why I did that, or, you know, like 3 characters on the board. And now it's time to swing for 6, lots and lots of times. Gives me a 2k counter, that's a good sign. Swing for 6. Gum Giant to get out of that, guys. So now it's like, okay, swing 7, swing 8. You got it or you don't. He didn't have it. And sometimes that's what it takes, guys. If you want to win, you have to do what's going to win for you. Because, guys, I don't have a blocker. They have 3 massive attacks coming in next turn, and they have a Shanks in hand. So it's going to be, you know, swing 6, 7, 12, 12. I'm not surviving. It's not happening. And I don't even think they should play out the Shanks from their hand. I think they should just go like, okay, swing 6, 7, 7, 7, 12. Because they could put 5 on each of their Namis and go about it that way. So start off with a 6k attack with the leader. He's going to find out, oh, I have no 2k counter, and now I'm just dead. You know, so I had to play whatever my best chance was to win, and that's why I aggressively countered out so aggressively right here, guys. Right here. I countered out here with a 2k or just 3 1ks or whatever it was. I had to protect that card, and then he swings into it, and I have 3 bodies left on the board. Because otherwise, he'd have taken out this card and then swung 12 into my Jinbei, and I can't protect that card. So, yeah. All right, so that's the logic there, guys. We're done. Here is the list that I was running. Please tell me what you guys think. I've already showed off this list before. This is not a new list. This is the list I was running in my previous video. I've only removed the leader so everything fits perfectly on 2 lines like this, guys. I just removed the leader, and there it is. That's the list. I will link the video in the comment section below if y'all want to see my Doffy walkthrough, you know, my Doffy guide. But yeah, this list is pretty straightforward, good times, very strong deck, and it's a lot of fun to play. Very, very powerful. Very, very powerful. All right, I'm done, guys. Enough yapping. Hope y'all enjoyed. Please don't forget to like, subscribe. Big shout out to everybody who supports me, guys. You know, number one, anyone who likes, subscribes, shares, comments, reviews my stuff, guys. You're helping me out big time. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. If you bought the playmat, big shout out to you guys over here, the VP Pirates playmat supporters. Hope you guys are enjoying that, and then you know, enjoying your playmats. And then last but not least, with the patrons here, thank you guys so much for donating to the channel, just trying to help out and all that good stuff, guys. Just keeping the dream alive. All right, I'm done. That's it. Till next time, guys. Peace.